Hi, and welcome to Everyday Reset. I am your host, Jessica Bowen, and today we're going to be discussing dog rescues. Right on cue. I have Christine with My Y Rescue on this morning. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning, Jessica. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I like to say that good morning to that one person that's tuned in this morning. So a little back history with how I met you is my Millie, that a lot of people who follow me know that I have my dogs, and Maggie is being very vocal at the moment, but Millie is sleeping because she's fed and she's happy. And you had a yellow lab on your rescue site, and she was in China. And we kind of just took it off from there. So we got Millie speak of the devil. I got Millie a little over a year ago from Christine here with My Y Rescue. And it's been a journey. I can say just in the year, just teaching her all of the things she needed to be taught. So what inspired you to start My Y Dog Rescue?
So I've been volunteering in the past with other, dog rescues. And one in particular was just breed specific. So I was just kind of looking on Instagram one day, and there was a rescue on the other side of the United States that needed help, with a specific breed. And these dogs were in China. So I took that under the wing, and I saw all the dynamics of what it was to run a rescue. Of course, you learn things along the way, but I kind of thought, man, I really wanted to help other breeds because, I didn't want to be a breed specific rescue. I wanted to help all of those dogs that were not adoptable or non-adoptable, so I decided with after, trials and tribulation and, rescue gets kind of nasty after a while. I just decided, I'm just going to go ahead and open up my own dog rescue. And this August, we celebrated, being around for 3 years. And I'm a really small rescue, which I love. I kind of have the say with everything. I don't have to go, specifically to a board. And, if I can do it and if I have the funds, yeah, let's do it. So I just kind of wanted the freedom, to have my own rescue and to see where and who I can help and, just kind of go from there without, again, just having people, in my ear and, let's vote and all the other politics that comes with rescue, basically.
Hold on one second. Maggie, come here. Go lay down, please. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. I'll be quiet. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
You said that there were breed specifics, and you said that some breeds were harder to adopt, if I heard you right. So what breeds were you talking about in that reference?
You have your typical, the pit bulls, the Malinois. Those are, they have to go to, not so much the pit bulls, but like your Malinois have to go to, specific,
someone who's experienced.
Yeah, pretty experienced person. Sometimes the Huskies, a lot of times people just see, oh, they're flurry and they're fluffy and, let me save. And they don't know, what it takes, to rescue and to rehab and, the 3-3-3 rule and to really just stick with that dog and just not fail that dog. So we've had our ups and downs within rescue and we've had our heartbreaks, but, I kind of figured if I didn't do what I'm doing, then, who knows where all of these dogs would have been. And it's not even just here. I mean, like you said, I rescue from China, I rescue from the Bahamas. We've rescued from Puerto Rico. I'm rescuing one from South Korea. So it's a lot that, gets involved, if you will. It's a lot.
Now, was there a specific moment or maybe a story that you could share that fueled the passion for the rescue from the very beginning?
When I was helping another rescue, we did 4 different rescues in China. The first time was December 2020. They came, we had 20 dogs come from China. And then we did 3 after. And we had numbers bringing in dogs between, I think the most we ever did was 18 golden retrievers, and we partnered up with another rescue. We brought over 5 doxies. We another time 24 goldens. Rescue 3 and 4 was literally 12 hours apart. We had brought in probably about, I want to say, 48 golden retrievers. So it was my job to make sure that all of these dogs had homes to go to. And what I did was back in Thanksgiving of 2020, I wanted to reach out to all these, businesses to see if they would donate stuff for like goodie bags that I wanted to do for, these dogs and the adopters when they got adopted. We gave them a blessing blanket as well as a little like baggie, like just thanking them to rescue. And just after seeing the condition that these dogs came in to the process, that just like fueled me even more to just want to get in to rescue. And of course, not just rescuing from China, just rescuing here. I mean, down in Miami, it's like it's a third world country down there. I don't understand how these people continue to see dogs suffer every single day and not want to step in and do something.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that that what you just said, that statement of like wanting to do something, wanting to step in, would that be the reason behind the name My Why? What does it signify to you personally?
So I came up with My Why because a lot of people think, it's all about me. And it's really not. When you're rescuing, people rescue for so many different reasons. And some people want to talk about these reasons. Some people just want to keep it to themselves, and that's fine. But when you say you're rescuing from My Why Rescue, it's not the person behind the rescue to a point. It's you as far as you rescued. This is my why I rescued, this dog, or I mean, I've helped cats, so it's significant to the adopter, also, well, my why, this is my why reason for basically, for adopting. So many times people are putting down dogs at the shelter, and they really shouldn't. The dogs at the shelter are completely misunderstood. Some of them are mistreated. Some of them, they're just so scared when they're in, these tiny kennels. Some of them only get out 10 minutes a day, and they're in these kennels for 24 hours a day.
And they have a different personality when they're in the kennel as compared to being in a home or being outside. Like they have no idea why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's confusing and I'm sure lonely for them, and it's heartbreaking. Like I've shared with you in the past, like all of my dogs are rescues.
Mm-hmm.
My very best friend was found on death row at Broward County Animal Control. Before it was this big fancy thing, and it was just that old cement building right next to the airport. If I hadn't found her, she would have been on death row, and she was the best dog.
Yes.
So it's since then I go for a rescue, but I go for the personality of the dog. And Millie was the first, Millie, the yellow lab that I received from you over a year ago. So she was the first dog I ever rescued without meeting first.
Mm-hmm.
And there were nerves behind that. And there was a lot of what ifs. And we had struggles we still kind of have to deal with. But she's a total love muffin. And I can't imagine what she would have looked like staying behind the cage. She would have been overlooked, I'm sure, because she just looks like another yellow lab. But there's so much to it I don't think that dogs in kennels or dogs in these humane societies and in the animal controls of the world. I don't think they're getting the chance to show their personality as much as they could. And I really commend those that are out there kind of recording it and putting it on live stream and doing, making the reels for them, because I think that's the advocacy that they need.
Yeah, of course.
So what is the process of rescuing dogs from places like China, like the Chinese meat market or the breeding farms, and how are you coordinating these rescues?
Well, we've partnered with other rescues over there, and they're pretty transparent when it comes to how the dog is. We want to make sure, especially over here in the States, we want to make sure that when we're talking to the adopters, if somebody is interested, we want to be very transparent. Yes, this dog is dog friendly. No, this dog is not dog friendly. What kind of medical history they have. I mean, they try and do the best that they can because they are rescued from meat markets. We don't know their backstory. Mm-hmm. But most of these dogs have been in, the same rescue for months, sometimes for years. So of course, some medical issues will arise. And, we do our best to communicate with the other rescue to get them over here. So that way we can find that perfect fit. I mean, we've rescued dogs with diabetes. We've rescued dogs that needed hip replacements. We've rescued dogs that, you know, would be overlooked. But thankfully, there was a welcoming family that was able to help and bring them into their home.
Yeah.
But it definitely is a long process and it's super expensive. We have to go through permits and testing, and there's so much that we've got to do just to make sure that, we're in compliance with the CDC, and that way they're not bringing in any diseases. And there's a lot of, testing even before, they come, just to make sure that they are in fact healthy.
That's good. So, um, okay, so then that leads me to my next question. So, what are the biggest challenges that you've faced in rescue and rehab for these dogs? Rescue and rehabilitation.
First would have to be funds, because if we're bringing a dog over and an unexpected, medical or unexpected illness arises, we really don't expect our adopters to help pay. We try our absolute best to raise these funds so that way, we can help pay as best as we can and as much as we can. But we're running into problems, where some veterinarians won't give us a discount. So we're paying, that top price for the veterinary service. And of course, funds are so limited. Not that many people want to help donate towards a dog coming from China because of the fact, well, there's so many dogs here.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like a catch-22. We want to help the dogs over there. But what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, that's perfect. It's leading me into my next question, which was, how do you handle the emotional toll of seeing all these dogs in such dire conditions?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. You get sent these videos. Sorry, Jess.
No, it's fine. I
You get
totally
sent
understand.
these videos of dogs living in, the conditions that they're living in. And you have to choose and pick. Like, how do you choose and pick? And we're talking about the dogs over South Korea and China, Lebanon. I mean, how do you pick? Because yeah, it takes months to get the dogs over here. It's not like, oh, okay, we want this dog and they'll be here next week.
Right.
It's a process. We don't have a brick and mortar where we can house the dogs. So for the most part, I will tell my partner over, just give me whoever's the sickest, whatever medical they have, just send them to me. I will find them a home and I will do the absolute best that, I can. And it all works out, thank God.
Yeah.
Sometimes, of course, you have those adopters where, they're not happy with the situation, but they've got to understand, medical issues are going to arise. And I'm very transparent with trying to tell people this is what's going on. And some medical issues are completely out of my control. We try and do as much testing over there as they possibly can, but some of these shelters have hundreds, if not thousands of dogs. And we're not talking, a bowl, a nice pet bed. No, the food is on the floor. They're all, scrounging for food, and, it's survival of the fittest over there. Dog aggression, just because they're so hungry. So when you're adopting, you have to expect some of these issues, the dog aggression, toy aggression. And we tell our adopters, first and foremost, if you have another dog, you need to keep them separated, only because we don't know exactly if that dog has food aggression, but we want to keep everybody safe in the household, just to make sure, everybody's safe.
Right. Yeah, Millie is not food aggressive. She's just very food driven. Like, she blacks out. She becomes that shark that smells blood in the water, and that's all she wants. And she will knock down anybody to get to it. And like, Maggie gets very the personality differences, like you're saying, like you don't know what the dog's aggression towards food would be. Maggie does the complete opposite of Millie, where she will understand that Millie really just desperately wants food, like desperate. There's a desperation in this dog when food is involved. And Maggie's like, I tap out. I don't want to be anywhere
Yeah.
near it. So she'll actually walk away from a full bowl of food and then let Millie to her vices. And unfortunately, Millie's become a chunky butt, and there's nothing I can do about it. This dog, half green beans, half weight loss food, and she's still a little heifer. But I have to feed them separately just because she will eat everything in sight and never stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's. I don't want to see you cry anymore, because I can only imagine the heartbreak you have to deal with on a regular basis. So how about we share a success story that has stayed with you, maybe one that particularly touched you like in your heart?
Oh, wow. Gosh, yes. There's
Stop.
so many success stories that we have. I can't even pick, you know,
Other
I
than
can't
Millie, because
even
that's
pick.
bias, you know.
Yeah, I can't even pick just one because, the success story really lies with our adopters that are continuing to, provide a loving home for these dogs. I mean, we've seen so many, with and other rescues too, that 6 years the dog's going back to the shelter. And it's, that's hard. People moving and they can't take their dogs. I mean, my dogs are adopted Canada, New York, Tennessee, Colorado, Georgia, um, West Virginia. I mean, all throughout the state of Florida. And people, when they have moved, some have moved from Florida after they've adopted, and they've said to me, "Hey, Christine, listen, we want to move. Is that okay?" And this was after they've adopted their dog. And I said, absolutely. Just give me your address so that way I can update the microchip. So I have to just say, like, the success stories are the ones, my adopters, that have just really stuck through, their dog. Some behavior problems will arise. They've contacted me for training advice. What trainers do you use? And those are the ones that I just have to tip my hat off to. I have 4 foster fails within the rescue, and they've all come from, one's come from China, and then 3's come from Palm Beach Animal Care and Control. One is in a foster. He's a foster because he has congestive heart failure. And with his condition, I just can't adopt him out. He has to go to, cardiologist. He's got medication that he's on, specific food that he's on. Another one I have, a blind husky, and, she can't see, but she's the first to know if there's a dog coming. They all each have their own individual personalities. It's hard sometimes, but, we definitely make it work. Again, in the success stories, they just, every time we get a dog and, we see the condition that they're in, and then just time over, with the love and the patience and the medical care and just the care itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're all success stories. I'm sorry. I
No.
can't just pick one.
Of course, it's okay. So then what does it feel like to see the transformation in these dogs from rescue to being placed in loving homes? So sorry. I can't put her outside. The pool guy said
it's totally fine.
the pool guy's
She's
like,
fine.
she can't go in the pool until Monday because we're having our pool treated, and so she has to be inside, and she's going crazy.
Totally fine. I'm surprised my dogs aren't here. Oh, here comes one. You would talk too soon.
So what was the transformation? What does it feel like for you to see the transformation in these dogs from rescue to being placed in loving homes?
It's the ones that really touch my heart are the ones from China, because, some of them are malnourished. I mean, the rescuers are doing the absolute best that they can over there, to provide the safety and comfort, food, medical care, etc. But sometimes we get these dogs and they're not in the best condition. So, I know it's going to take, time and, of course, definitely patience. But as you see their transformation and as you see their personality coming out, and then, of course, you see their shiny coat, I mean, it's a wow factor. It really truly is, because if I didn't do, if I wasn't in rescue and if I had absolutely nothing to do with rescue, there would be all these dogs that I would have never had the opportunity to help. And who knows where they would have been. I mean, we usually rescue the dogs on death row from, county shelters. We very rarely take owner surrenders. And I'm going to tell you why. They have a home. You're choosing to dump that dog because you're moving, financial, whatever excuse,
or you just don't want to deal with it anymore.
You just don't want to deal with it anymore. And there's so many resources that you can get help from. I mean, that is the last thing that these shelters want to see, are these dogs getting put in the shelter. And so many people aren't understanding when they've come to me and they've said, I need to surrender my dog. I'm sorry, I don't take owner surrenders. They kind of give me a little bit of an attitude, and it's like, I have no ties, no emotional ties to this animal. You do. And if you can just give your dog away with no problem and having no idea what happens to them, it's kind of like a shame on you type of thing. And when we get these owner surrenders, we're not getting help from, the public. Like, yes, of course, we'll put, the receipt and how much we've paid on them. But for the most part, these owner surrenders, they come with a pretty hefty price tag. And it's just something that for the rescue, we just can't continue to keep doing because, our finances are really low right now.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. So she's being so vocal. I swear this dog has husky in her. Ma'am. So what do you think the biggest she's talking. She just desperately wants to go outside. What do you think the biggest misconception about dog rescues, particularly from places like China, would be?
We've heard, we've kind of heard it all. We definitely have to put our blockers on, but what people don't seem to understand is they're not bringing diseases in. Like I said, we go through so much testing before the dog flies, and even when they come here, they got to be checked by customs. For the most part, there's a veterinarian that that's able to check them, just to make sure that yes, they're healthy to pass through, keep going type of thing. And and I know that there's so many dogs here that need help, but if somebody's looking for a particular breed, like that golden retriever, there's so many goldens in China, and if we can help bring a dog over, and if somebody's willing to adopt a dog, I mean, we'll do that. I have 2 dogs in a rescue that have both one's been in rescue for over 6 months, one has been in rescue for just about a year. They are excellent dogs, but because of the breed, it's hard for them to get adopted. But also what people don't understand is the golden retriever, sometimes they're pretty aggressive too.
They can be.
My golden Vera, she's a rescue from China. She had extreme case of food aggression when I first brought her. She had a double ear infection to the point where she would just lay on the floor and you would see the pus just slowly kind of dripping out. The smell was horrid. She was in a lot of pain, and she was skinny when I first got her. But, I did a very aggressive treatment on her from the dermatologist here. And her food, she got me a few times, on my hand, but you have to just realize the background, that they're coming from. It's not her fault. She's hungry. She's a big dog. She's probably gotta be like 97 pounds now. I keep looking because she's over there. I don't know if you can see her sleeping.
Aww.
But she's a big girl.
She's a big girl. Come here, Millie.
Somebody's trying to get your attention down there.
That's Millie. She doesn't jump up like Maggie does. Excuse me. Hold on. Come here. Let me see
her.
Say hi. This is Millie. Millie.
Oh my gosh, she looks so good.
Oh yeah, her coat is amazing. She sheds like, say hi.
Hi, mommy.
Her lip gets caught where they took out her tooth.
Aww. She's so cute. Oh, I love her face. She's got such a sweet face.
She's got the best face. Yeah, definitely. Get that lip out from her tooth up. There you go.
Aww.
Say hi.
She's so cute.
She's a cutie. She definitely needs to lose some weight. And she also sheds. Hold on, she's going to take out my headphones. She sheds like nothing I've ever seen before. Get your feet. Okay. Oh my heavens. Yeah. So
Oh yes.
she's something. She's the best. She's so sweet and she's very regimented. Like she likes to go to her cage. She goes to bed every night on her own at 8:30. She'll do anything for a treat. She carries around her little lammy. And
Oh, I love that.
I
So
love that
cute.
too. It's so cute. And if she
So
can't find
cute.
that, she'll pull out her blanket that we keep in her kennel. She stays in her crate because we can't trust her. She will still go to the bathroom in the house. Like these are little challenges that we still have with her. She's been eating her own poop, which I've never had a dog do that. But according to the vet, it could be for multiple reasons. Number one, being where she came from, being in a cage, not knowing when her next meal would be. She just used survival of the fittest. Whatever her survival mode told her to do, she did.
Yeah.
And that's something we're desperately trying to break her of, but it's a challenge because in order to do it, I have to smother her poo in hot pepper flakes and hot sauce. But that means I have to leave it out, and I pick everything up. So it's like, okay.
Oh wow.
Or I have to make sure I get to it before she does. And either way, if I can get to it and put stuff on it, I may as well just pick it up. So
Yeah, of course.
it's one of those things where I'm I still have my own little struggles, but I am also somebody who researches about dogs, and I know a lot about dogs just from my lifestyle. And as you can see, my shirt says happiness comes from dogs, not people. So, and being that I work from home, I didn't realize I'm choosing all dog things today, but my dog is my favorite coworker.
Oh, I love that. And you've got your little coworker. Your little coworker over there. I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
Both of them. So there are challenges, and I think that a lot of what people who they want to get these dogs. So I actually had somebody call me yesterday and ask me my opinion on if he should get a Labrador or an Aussie, an Australian Shepherd. And I was like, well,
two different breeds.
That's night and day. Yeah. I said, you have a lab who doesn't require as much exercise, is loyal, has a permanent puppy nature. So they're going to want to chew. They're going to want to have, they're going to want to try and get into trouble. Food. That's their biggest love. So I was explaining that to him. And then there was the Australian Shepherd. I said, that's a herding breed. So if you don't want to get nipped in your heels or herded as you're doing stuff, if you don't want to have to spend 2-3 hours a day exercising this dog, working with the dog regularly, socializing him regularly, because they get very protective and they'll get snippy and they're sharp, just like a lab. They're very, very, very smart. They're very eager to please. However, they both will destroy if they're bored. If they're not challenged properly, they'll just destroy whatever they can. And so I was explaining that to him, and I have written blogs myself on doing the research on the breed, because so many of these dogs at these just breed specific, like you mentioned earlier, these breed specific rescues are there because there was this misconception of what they wanted. I have to get this purebred husky, for instance, but then they live in an apartment. The hair is a problem for the carpets. They're vocal. And if they're not trained properly, can wreak some havoc in your household. And if you like nice things, say goodbye. So if you don't do the proper research and ask the right questions, then what's going to happen is you're going to have another dog put back into the system in a sick cycle, where now that dog's going to have a hard time finding a home as well, or possibly put down. So I love the fact that I get to have conversations like this one, so that it can kind of open up awareness as to the reality of, just having a dog, and just getting a dog is more than just getting a dog. You can't just get a dog and be like, oh, I've got this purebred dog, and then be done with it. You have to know what you're getting into. So many people love corgis. I love corgis when they're somebody else's because they can be a challenge. They have, for me, just learning about Millie, I never thought I'd have to put shedding into that category. Like, how bad do they shed? But ever since Millie, that hair, man, that's insane. And if you like a clean, tidy household, don't get a dog that sheds. But then you have these people making the mixed breeds.
Yep.
The,
Yep.
what do they call them? They call them designer
They've got
breeds.
the designer breeds,
Designer
yes.
breeds. You have the golden doodles and the, you know,
The
whatever,
Labradoodles,
the
the
labradoodles.
Morpheus, yeah.
Yes, anything mixed with a poodle. And so now people are specifically breeding these dogs, these great dogs, and they don't take into consideration that perhaps breeding those dogs, you may have a problem like the hip dysplasia from a lab, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
and the aggression that can come with a poodle. And then you put that into one dog, you have a high energy, aggression typical type dog, you know?
Right.
So and I don't know, just for me, it's, again, there are, and what I mentioned to the gentleman that called me yesterday, I said, look, there are plenty of rescues. He's a young guy wanting to get into the fire academy. And I said, I said, you're young and you have a lot going on in the next few months to the next few years. What you may want to consider is maybe not a puppy,
Right.
something that you can rescue that's a little bit older. So you
Right.
don't have to worry about getting up in the middle of the night and the chewing and this, that, and the other. And I said, and definitely look into, find out what the breeds are and do your research. I said, calling me, that's the best step, so you can know ahead of time. If that's what you're
Right.
looking for, here's a Labrador rescue, here's My Y rescue, here's Aussie rescue of South Florida. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, here you go, do your research, check them out. And the beauty about the rescues is that they can tell you. I mean, unfortunately, I can't say that 100% for you, but you know at least enough to say, like, we don't know anything about the background. You may want to just, figure it out or ask me the right questions, etc. Whereas some other ones have had these dogs in foster homes, so they know if they're cat, if they like cats, if they like kids, if they like their crate, because that's the other thing is a lot of people feel bad crate training their dogs,
Mm-hmm.
whereas I think it's just like adding another room onto your house. Like, I love going to my room. This is their room.
Right.
But Maggie, for instance, cannot go in a crate.
Right.
So what was I going to ask you? So if you could explain to people the best way to support My Y Dog Rescue and the broader mission of rescuing the dogs from any such harsh environments, and maybe answer that question, as well as telling me what your hopes and plans for My Y Rescue in the future looks like.
The first and foremost, we have, like I said, we rescue locally, and we have just a few foster homes. And I love that you touched on that with the foster homes, because we know, here when our dogs are in foster homes, their likes, their dislikes, with are they dog friendly, etc. And we have, a very, very few foster homes that help us, you know rescue the dogs. And of course, my fosters know you have to hold on to that dog until that dog gets adopted, because unfortunately we don't have a facility, and we also don't have the opportunity to just, oh, okay, pick up and move to another foster home. We don't like doing that. We got to make sure that the dog is decompressing, and that they're also just having the opportunity to just kind of relax. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, God, who knows what they've been through. But if you've ever fostered a dog, it's crazy, because the first night that they enter the home, usually we give them a bath, feed them, and then we've got, like, nice clean pet beds for them. And the thing that they do is they let out this sigh of relief.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every single one that has come into my my home for me to foster has done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like the calmness and the quietness, and it's just so awesome to see. But people also need to do research on, smaller rescues, because especially with my rescue, I'm getting those big bills. We just rescued a dog buddy from Palm Beach, and his bill was $11,100.
Ew.
And our fundraising efforts allows us to have emergency funds, so that way we can help dogs like him.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't raise nearly half of his funds, but we were able to pay off the bill with our emergency funds. So now, of course, we've got to fill that back up. But there's so many, people go to the bigger rescues, which I get, but you got to do your research on the smaller ones, because the little smaller rescues are the ones that are, doing the work too. I think first and foremost, funds. We're lacking funds. We're lacking foster homes. we get asked every single day, can you please help this dog? Can you please help this dog? And we're hesitant to a point because so many people want to be that hero. And that's great that people want to be a dog's hero.
Mm-hmm.
But when the dog comes into the home and they start seeing personalities, maybe the dog is starting to act a little differently, they immediately are like yelling at us, get this dog out of the house.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you want the dog to go? Because we're very transparent. We don't have any other spots for the dog to go. We try our best to keep the dogs out of the shelter, but in some circumstances, if we don't have foster homes, I'm full in my house. We don't believe in boarding because the dog just sits in boarding. We can barely raise funds for medical. How are we going to raise funds for, to keep that dog in boarding? So there's definitely a lot behind the scenes that goes into rescue, but, just help the smaller ones. They need it the most. Google rescues in the area just to kind of see, what smaller rescues are out there, and send an email, send a text message, make a phone call. Hey, do you guys need help? How can I help you? Because there's so many different aspects within rescue that help is definitely needed.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think there's so much more you and I could talk about, and I don't want to keep you for too long, but I think that you've kind of hit the nail on the head. It's all about the research, really, from start to finish. If this is something that somebody is looking into, I think that the biggest thing that they need to do, whether it's, getting a dog, because you think about it, you're going to spend what, let's say $1,200, just say, for a purebred puppy that you don't even know what it's going to turn into. Like,
Right.
if it's going to be something that you're going to want temperamentally or personality wise, maybe you're lazy and you're getting an Australian Shepherd, for instance. So it is all about the research. And if someone out there was considering starting their own rescue or getting involved, what would you tell them?
Oh, do it. 100% do it. There's so many dogs that need help, and it just seems, rescues for the most part don't work together, and it's sad. It's really sad to see that in the rescue world, because we're not in this. It's not a race.
No,
it's not to see who could rescue the most dogs. It's not to be like, oh, this is the best rescue. No, we're all about here,
Same
trying to help
game.
the dogs. Right. You're gonna have those pretty hard conversations within rescue that typically you don't want to have, but those conversations need to be there, and they've got to be put into place. For anybody that's wanting to start, their own rescue, start the paperwork, because it takes a while to get the 501c. But once you have that 501c, and once you have the ability to help save a dog, even if you help save one, that's all it takes, is just one. You're not changing the whole entire world of rescue by just saving that one dog. You're really not. But for that one dog, you're really changing their world, because from what their past life was like to how they are now, I try and keep up with every single one of my adopters. I'm thankful to say that we've adopted over almost 80 dogs within the 3 years that we've been open. And that's not a lot.
No, but it is. That's 80 lives. Yeah, absolutely.
It is. That's 80 lives that we definitely helped. And what a lot of people don't realize, there's just one person behind the scene, me. I wear so many different hats, and I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. You're going to have the emotional ties to rescue. I mean, no matter what dog we try and help, there's always going to be some kind of emotional tie. But we always try our best. And when it comes down to a medical dog that we have exhausted every single option, we're there. We are there in that room with them when, the dog is being put down, especially as a foster. With our adopters, they've let us know a few days, hey, Christine, I just want to let you know, we feel their pain. I will send them flowers. And I know it's just a small gesture when a dog passes, but, they're still part of the My Y Rescue family, whether they've adopted or fostered. I mean, we become a pretty tight family. And I'm just happy to say that, we have an extra 80 dogs, that we've saved, and we've reached out and touched so many people, with that one dog. So it definitely brings people together, for sure.
It does. Now, if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how would they reach out to you?
Text is the best. I don't know why. The email world hates my email, so any emails that I get, it's constantly going to spam, and I don't see it until sometimes days, months, weeks later.
Okay.
So text messaging is definitely best.
Why don't you
For me.
provide your phone number in case anybody was like
Sure,
looking
the
into
phone
rescue?
number. Absolutely. The phone number is 561-818-8120. Again, area code 561-818-8120. Make sure you tell me your name. So many people are like, hey, and ask a question. I would love to know who I'm speaking with because I love addressing people by their first name.
And do you have, I know the answer, but I'm just putting it out there. So social media, who are you on? Where are you on social media?
We're only on Facebook and Instagram. I don't have time to learn the others because it's a lot. My Y Rescue is both Facebook and Instagram, MYWHY Rescue.
Okay.
And follow us. Follow us, share our stories. We can only help and we can only get donations, by people helping, following and liking and inviting their friends to the page. And just kind of seeing the work that, we kind of do behind the scenes. We're very open and honest, transparent rescue. If anybody wants to know anything, just pick up the phone and call.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christina. I won't keep you much longer. I just want to say thank you. And again, if anybody wants to reach out or get into whether it's looking into rescuing dog or maybe asking Christine questions on how to start your own rescue, because I'm sure that she would be willing to work with you on that just to help more dogs. On behalf of Millie and Maggie and myself, I want to say thank you. And if I hadn't looked into getting another dog, then I would have never met you. And I appreciate you coming on. And thank you for all that you're doing for dogs, because I have a serious soft spot for them. And you and I could talk about dogs for days, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to be on here with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Christine with My Y Rescue. I am Jessica Bowen. This is Everyday Reset, and I appreciate everybody for listening. If you like this podcast, please share, send a comment if you want to share it with your friends. Christine, I'll send you a link as well so that you can share it on your website, either on your website or on Facebook, on Instagram. Just, give me a shout out if you'd like. And to that one person listening, thank you very much, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you for having me, Jessica. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Christina. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.